God is dead. Eat the rich. Legacy suck. Take the trophy back. None of it counts. Well done, Order. Congratulations. The mighty have fallen, and as Skimmy and Rusty were alluding to during that game, it looks like it has kind of been coming for a couple of weeks now. We've heard from the OPL shills, but let's throw to the most unbiased caster on the program, Spawn. How was that game from your perspective?
Yeah, it was really interesting, right? Because when you have a look at these teams on paper, it looks like Legacy should really hard win top of the map, in my opinion, and maybe have an advantage if they get an Enchanter matchup bottom of the map as well, because Isles in Enchanter versus Tank is so well practiced, and obviously Raze is one of the best AD carries in the league. But Babbitt pathed up towards Topoon, and then Topoon died to first gank. And when that happens as a jungler, it kind of ruins your whole pathing game if you're Babbitt. Because what you have to do is you have to reset and go back towards bottom side and try and path back towards top lane, your weak side, which is already, been killed once, and you know that it's going to be a mismanaged fight. Now, Order kind of dropped the ball a couple of times. They did give a couple of kills back to Babbitt in the jungle in the early game, and I think that made the early game closer than it should have been. But I think we've been kind of calling it for a couple of weeks now that Legacy are making these early game mistakes that they wouldn't have made. Topoon dying as his jungler was pathing towards him is something we have not seen in a very long time. And I think that kind of got the snowball rolling for Order, who picked an insane scaling comp. Like, let's call it what it was. It was Sion into all AD damage. Like, that game was going to get to a point where Sion wasn't going to die and Order were going to win. And they did fumble it a couple of times, and they got to that point, and then, the Sion, the Ezreal, as well as the Azir took over in those team fights.
Rusty, is for Legacy, from their perspective, the perfect split is gone, but is there some sort of relief there that there's a little bit of like that pressure's gone? You're human, but at the same time, they're still in a great position.
I mean, there might be the way that I see it, right, is there's probably a subconscious pressure lift from it, 100%. It's not like you're not going to finish that game. You're like, whoo, glad that's over. Finally got a loss on the board. But like, you'll be upset that you lost. But you definitely, I think you'll come into the next day and be like, there's no expectations that I'm putting on myself of having a perfect split. All of the expectations are now on just winning the game in front of me.
Well, a very exciting way to start the OPL for this week, and there are going to be more winners and losers coming up because obviously while we have more games, we also have a game of our own. We had a very easy version of this a couple of weeks ago. We decided to bring it back and make it a little harder. This is the LEC.
Only you can hear me, Summoner.
I forgot about the titles. Great titles. Great titles.
It's very good.
It's pretty good.
The Skimmy picture in particular is very special.
I like it a lot.
It's a good one. All right, so you guys smashed this last time. It was humiliating from my perspective as a professional that it was that easy. So hopefully we've made it a little harder this time. Chat, you are welcome to play along. You know the rules. We're going to play you a sound effect from the video game League of Legends, and you need to guess what it is. Let's hit it off with sound number one. Gentlemen, listen extra closely.
Realm Warp.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah.
He's just so good.
Rise ulti with no one in it.
I'll tell you what. Oh, Rusty for extra points there as well. I like it. That is Realm Warp. That is the Rise ulti. Let's listen extra closely to sound number two.
I know that.
Oh,
You should. You play a lot of League of Legends.
it has the sound effect of the REQ, but I don't think it is.
No, it's some form of like shield or something being hit.
What is there? There's
I keep thinking of like a beach volleyball bouncing. I'm so distracted.
No, that's not like a beach volleyball is not. That's not the worst guess in the world. It's not the worst guess.
No, repetitive things hitting something. Is it Aurelion Soul hitting jungle creeps or something?
Oh.
Without W turned on?
I will take that answer. It is Aurelion Soul. It is the orbs hitting an enemy champion.
Champion. Okay.
Technically, it's the passive of
without W on, right?
Yeah,
but
because with W on now it goes boom,
Boom, boom, boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
But orbs was an acceptable answer. Lots of people in the chat got it. But I did see someone, Resmade said, "Oh my god, they are so bad." So guys, you must feel really awful.
There was Raz in chat said
I
AD
feel terrible now.
Aurelian Soul as well. And what you don't know is that Raz was really high on AD Aurelian Soul being this thing because you could grasp from his orbs hitting people, and it was just, it's nonsense. But I think he's still on that train.
Hell yeah,
still
Raz.
there
Never
with it.
lose hope. I still also think that counter-jungling support Alistar could see pro play with Smite.
All right, it's time for sound number 3. So far, Spawn, 2.
He's on the
2
money.
points. He's running the money. Skimmy, at time you want to jump in with an answer, you're more than welcome.
I'm trying. I'm
Let's
trying.
listen extra closely to sound number 3.
Is that Ivan?
That's Ivan.
It is.
Passive, yeah.
You did it! You did it,
Well
buddy.
done, Skimmy.
We're doing it. We're going.
I will give it to you, even though you did technically you just said, "Is that Ivan?" And Ivan has a lot of sound effects attached to it, but I'll give you that one.
Is that him spawning one of his brushes?
It
No,
is.
No, it's passive on jungle.
No,
Camp.
It's his passive on Jungle Camp, yeah.
Oh, but he's
God.
taming his friends.
I got two thumbs and a shield.
Gotcha.
I have to take the point away. I'll give you half a point. Rusty,
Half a
you
point?
get the other half because I believe you did say
Sharing is caring.
it was the passive. All right. I hope someone's keeping track of the score because I'm certainly not.
I am. I'm winning.
Listen extra closely to sound number 4.
Oh, Mundo
Sure,
Cleaver.
that's the Mundo.
Q Cleaver.
Weren't we
Cleaver.
going to pick harder ones?
Well, look. There's only so many sound effects in a game. You've all played like
Full point,
10,000
Nick,
hours of this
please.
thing. What did you say, Skimmy?
Mundo Q Cleaver.
I mean, yes, it is. But you
I
all
said it
kind of
first.
said it at the same time.
I
Yeah.
definitely
Just give
said
it
it
to me,
first. Go
mate.
back to the tape.
Can we go back to the tape? I'm being told no. Everyone gets a point. Well done.
Hell yeah.
Rigged.
That means I'm still winning.
Spawn's on 3. Skimmy's on 1.5. Rusty's on 1.5.
This was just guessing them, and now it's a competition. You
Now
can't
it is.
take them anywhere.
It's become a game show.
It is. Here we go. Okay. Listen extra closely to sound number, I want to say 5.
Right.
Oh, even chat stopped.
Go
Go again. Go
yeah,
again.
one more. It's something mechanical or
think it's
futuristic
like-
being
is that a pulse
activated
fire
and
skin?
deactivated.
That's all that's going through my head right now.
Is that a
Is
Victor
it
Q?
Jin holding his 4th bullet?
So someone just said something. Skimmy, what did you say?
It just sounds like a pulse fire skin line to me. That's obviously as ambiguous as anything. So go next.
Rusty, what did you
Victor
say?
Q.
Oh, you were
It's
so
like
close.
so it's like the Q and then the auto attack.
just
with the two
pick other
W.
other. There
W
you
is
go.
A or is R.
There you go. Rusty gets that.
I only
was
get
that?
half points though, right?
No, I'm gonna give you a full one because I want it to come to a head at the competition. Like this like the OPL is fixed. So I'm making sure that we're getting to a good end. All right, let's listen to sound number 6. Listen extra closely.
Isle?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yes, I was writing the score. Well done. Bang on. See, this is why I gave you that extra
is too
point
quick.
because you, sir, are now in the lead. 3.5
good.
points. My goodness.
Yay!
And Skimmy is on a half point. Okay, cool. Listen.
I've
extra
lost a
closely.
point now.
Can we
Yeah.
give this one to Skibby? It's just like give him a crack at it.
Oh,
All
I
right.
like it. Okay.
I like it as well.
Yep. Skimmy, listen extra closely.
Tristana rocket jump.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I baited
Nance.
Rusty into a false sense of security to get my lead back.
I think that's you take away a point for poor sportsmanship after winning against Legacy.
No,
This is
no,
rigged. I think we
It's
deduct
my
points.
point. I got it right.
That is. Oh god, it just got so real. It got so uncomfortably real. Okay,
I wasn't
so
even here for a competition, and now it's just getting petty.
okay, so just to recap, after, because there are no rules to this really, so that was fine. This is like a this is a WWE pin anywhere match. Spawn is on 4, Rusty's on 3.5, Skimmy's on half. Was given an opportunity to take a point, was coward punched by Spawn. All right, listen extra closely to this.
Twist of
Pick a
fate.
card.
Pick a card.
Which card is it?
That was blue.
Was it?
No, it was yellow.
I think it was red.
No,
Rusty!
Didn't have to slap.
Red card. Well done.
Yeah, it AoE'd.
That is
I
very
didn't hear the
exciting.
AoE. I was too busy answering.
Yeah, you guys too busy talking.
Here's the thing. I love... Here's what I like. This is what I've learned about you guys for this game. Spawn will do literally anything to win. Rusty wants competitive integrity and also just wants to learn. And Skimmy, while participating in this game, does not seem to grasp the idea of competition when it's like, name a color, and Spawn's literally there going like, yellow, blue, and Skimmy's just sitting there. I'm like, say red.
I'm listening in intently, getting roasted in chat. It's fun. It's
fun.
it's what it is.
It's fun. You talk enough, buddy. You can take this one up. All right, we've got 2 left. Listen extra closely to
They
sound
got
number
harder
8
every time.
Oh, that's Fiddlestick. No, that's Nocturne.
It is
Terrify,
the
whatever it's
Nocturne
called.
Unspeakable Horror.
Yeah, that one.
Nocturne player over there.
This
Nice work.
is
That was a good one.
this is it, ladies and gentlemen. A points recap. Spawn is on 5. Rusty 4.5. Skimmy on a half point. Skimmy.
I reckon we let Skimmy answer this one.
Well, I'm the newest to this game,
yeah.
right? I'm newest to the game. These guys got years on me.
Oh,
so,
no, that's.
It is quite rough. It is quite rough.
It's very rough. It's very rough.
Yeah.
Plus, these two, you can't take them anywhere. Rusty
Yeah,
is
can't.
We
trying
let
to.
Skimmy answer.
Rusty is trying to take the high road here, but he'll sell his
Well, we're in
mother
now,
under a
aren't
bus
we?
for a point.
Like, there
won't
is
he?
no high road anymore. We've got no choice.
This is it. Are you ready? By the way, look at the cocky lean back that Spawn's rocking right now. That jacket is eating him. Okay, listen extra closely to sound number 9.
On cue?
Incorrect. And now I'm going to say you can't guess anymore.
Can we
Bullshit,
play
new
it
rule.
again?
One more
We
time.
can play it again.
I'm really distracted by the sound of a frog.
Is that Poppy bashing her mallet on the floor?
Oh my god! He did it on the final question.
Is that it?
I'll give it to you. It's
Nice.
It's Poppy's E. So well done. You
Wait,
get a
Poppy
point
dash?
for that.
Poppy stun?
It's heroic charge. So you handed Spawn the victory there on 5 points. Rusty 4.5. Skimmy though, the real winner, coming in end of the game, nabbing that victory. Well done, Spawn. You truly do have the ears of a champion. And Twitch chat, you were all very impressive as well with all of your Googling. All right, it's time to jump into game number 2 for week 5. It is Chiefs versus Gravitas, and it's coming up after this. And the Macca's champ select.
Well, welcome back for game number 2, as it will be the Chiefs taking on Gravitas. Unfortunately for the Chiefs, they suffered an 0-2 week, and they'll be looking to try and bounce back in, well, to a game that, quite honestly, should be one of the favourites, as it would be going to Gravitas that aren't in red-hot form as of late themselves either. So a lot on the line for both teams to sort of prove what they've learnt during the 1 week break between, what's really changed up for both of them as an identity in 10-13 as well. And as we go into this one, Rusty, I start to look at Gravitas in the sense that Quaku hasn't really recaptured that form from Split 1. K-Pop's actually coming in here instead of Beats, because bot lane hasn't really been
nobody is
looking...
in top lane.
Yeah,
So
bot lane hasn't really been
is
looking
the
good.
most
So
god.
things have just completely changed around, right? It's kind of going back to what worked for them in Split 1, and I felt like something had to change because they had so many losing lanes that they were relying so much on Sumin to try and pop off as an assassin, and it wasn't to be the case.
Yeah, so we've got 2 different roster swap outs here for Gravitas, and I think you're right. Like, it's a good time to do it. I think it's a good time for them to have that self-discovery, work out what they can actually do to come back into this one. And you'd expect that K-pop and Nobody have been spending their time honing their skills, you know, preparing for their chance to play in the OPL again as well. So this is the game where we don't know outright what to expect from Gravitas. What we can say for certain so far is that they've got an Ornn and a Volibear, so that's going to be a Volibear in the jungle position, unless they're flexing Ornn to support. So they've shown their hand, and that's interesting. I don't particularly like that, because now they've shown their matchups. And I think that one of the biggest strengths right now, and I was talking to Pabu about this before as well actually, is when you're on red side, if you pick the Volibear, you don't pick the Ornn, what is your opponent going to pick, right? Because you've got a good flex, and there are so many matchups that actually lose to the Volibear in both roles. So you have to be super careful with how you play, and it like kind of sculpts the enemy composition. But they've just shown it super early, and they said, this is what we're playing, see what you can do with it.
It's a little bit worrying though, isn't it, Rusty? Because I think, you know, you've got this new quote-unquote roster coming back to what was once upon a time. You're looking at really any kind of advantage you can try and find, and to reveal this much going into a team of this caliber, it does make you get a little bit concerned just from the drafting phase alone. Obviously, the fact that Sumin once again will get that carry as the assassin is his bread and butter, and last week he played out of his mind. Unfortunately, didn't have a team around him to come together as a whole. But I do think that is a cause for concern. Also, the Chiefs come out the gates flying right now. They're going to put Katsuri on a staple pick of his. Not going to go into the fasting center, which does not seem to be a comfort for them. And Draku's going to flex away from the likes of those enchanters. Also, the Yumi has been changed. Karma's been banned away by them in particular. So they're going to go for a kill lane comp, which caters to Katsuri's proficiency.
Yeah, definitely something that would be... It's good for them because they don't need to play to it, but if they do, it will be fantastic. They've got just a really good team composition, bare bones style comp built already. I do want to actually bring note to this as well. It's a Jarvan and a Lee Sin that have been banned by a Gravitas, and there's also a Trundle, Nidalee, and Graves taken off the board. So a lot of focus did go towards the jungle role, and that is one of the pieces of the puzzle that's missing here for the Chiefs. You know, if it was a Jarvan Ori comp, with a Nautilus Varus in there as well, they just have an abundance of engage, an abundance of go forwards, and just pick your opponents apart by team fighting. May not be what we see as aggressively this time around, but we are waiting to see exactly what they pick in the jungle position into Volibear. Still some things available. My mind, for some reason, and I actually don't know why, my mind has gone to Rek'Sai.
What screams Rek'Sai to you, do you think?
I think, like, if they're looking at Sylas having mixed damage, I assume the Sylas is top lane, having mixed damage to the jungle role will be important. And I think it's pretty hard for a Volibear to deal with the Rek'Sai. It's good into Akali because you can see her if you're underground while she's in Shroud as well. I don't know. Olaf is obviously the meta version in my mind anyway of it.
Is a staple pick in Croc's arsenal. Okay, this is a bit of a change-up. This is interesting because in the OCS last night, we actually saw the Xayah come back. We saw the Xayah Rakan get paired, and we saw the Kayn as well. So, not to say that the OCS is forming the Oceanic meta as a whole, but it is interesting to see that as a result of a new patch, teams have a bit of a different take on what is good and what they want to rock with.
Yeah, so it may not be influencing it, Skimmy, but they all still play in the same solo queue ladder. So it is probably a widely known thing, right? Like these matchups or these champions that we're seeing more of may just have been seen in solo queue, and it shows up in OCS from that, shows up in OPL from it as well during their scrims and practice. Most players aren't going to practice new champions in scrims, right? They're going to take it to solo queue. So we've got the Kayn here. We've got it into a Volibear. Now, Kayn is one of the fastest tempo junglers when it comes to his clear speed. And for those who don't often see the Kayn, one of the biggest things is balancing acts between am I farming a camp or am I farming champion damage to be able to evolve? Because he's hardly a champion until he evolves. What that means is usually he'll be fine if he's ganking someone, but you want to try and avoid the 2v2s if you can, because they tend to just have more tools at their disposal to win that 2v2. So a lot of it is about getting control of the map in small, subtle ways, if it's vision or just clear speed, and winning the map after that.
It's going to be quite interesting to see what Croc's take on this pick is. Didn't find much success last night for the points that you mentioned. You're in a bit of a weird situation as to, am I looking to try and farm? Am I falling behind? Do I need to gank? Do I need to try and find a lane to enable? So that they are also a powerhouse, a source of strength, whilst I'm looking to try and find that same merit myself. But the Zarya Rakan obviously stands out like a sore thumb for me. We've seen the Rakan slowly come back on its own. Obviously, the pairing together is what makes them so incredibly strong. And this is exciting, you know, for them to come out the gates and say, look, new identity, going back to what worked for us when we had glimpses of strength in split number 1. We want to fight fire with fire. You've got engaged, we've got engaged. We want to make sure that when Suman goes in, we have the ability to follow him into that battle as well. And that was something that was definitely lacking last week.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they confidence picked the Akali as well, no hesitation. They're picking champions that they want, and then they kind of looked at bottom lane and said, what do we need? And they're looking for some physical damage, something that can scale well into the game. They're not going to have the Yuumi down there anymore. And they know that their opponents were a Varus Nautilus. So Nautilus, decent into the Rakan, decent into the Zarya as well. But if you play your cards right, they've got the Guardian, Rakan's able to be tanky enough to stand in front of the Nautilus hooks, then it is still a playable lane. Most of it is about where your jungler is positioned, however. And I think by having that Kayn there, they might feel a little bit safer in that 2v2 to go Zarya Rakan.
Really excited to see what Draku can do in this Nautilus. Obviously, he had a week that he'd like to forget last week when they played the Senekama. And no doubt has also been furiously practicing a way to expand that roster, which teams have been looking to try and abuse. So coming out here and going back to what works here, we talked a little bit last week as to why sort of Chiefs as a whole are known for playing this very carry-oriented style. They can carry with Tien, Claire, and Katsuri. Obviously, Claire continues to impress, has been putting in some very standout performances and putting them on the likes of an Orianna, a staple in the meta at this stage. We'd like to see him find that again, but as you highlight, it's going to be Chiefs looking to go for a cheeky little invade.
Praelis level 2 to level 1 as this starts. If he gets the Q off, he's still 2, so the fight is on.
Suman's going to rotate. That's going to get it 3 for 2. The favour of the Gravitas roster so far. Flash to flash. Chiefs go the wrong way as Croc goes to the side. Both junglers looking for the disengage. Now it's going to be between a little 2v2, but he responds back quicker. They are stacking up furiously right now. This is the craziest level 1 fight we have seen to date. It's going to be close.
Oh my god.
It's going to be a first blood that goes to Gravitas first of all, but not without Chiefs finding 2 to their name as well. A crazy set of circumstances to open us up.
And I mean, okay. So we just spoke about how difficult it is for a Kayn to choose between camps and champs. And he's just been gifted a 1-0-1 start at level 1 and the Raptor clear in his opposing side jungle. That is a massive advantage in the hands of Croc if he's able to time his resets appropriately and get himself a good back to be onto the map. Because right now it looks like he's doing Wolves, he's going to go to Raptors, and he may reset with enough gold then to get his full jungle item. And this is going to be a monster Kayn.
Be kind of crazy as well. Keep tabs on whenabouts he's actually able to evolve and what it sort of means for the game state as a whole. Let's take a quick consideration as to what summoners were burnt. Both flashes in the jungle had to be used. Claire didn't have to actually use anything despite Suman running the Ignite, so his kill pressure is definitely going to be a little bit less as a result.
I mean,
Both
mid's
solo
pretty
laners have to
boomed.
teleport in.
Like, this game has just started off so wild in favor of Chiefs. Pretty much across the board, right? You've got your jungler that needed all of the things he just got at level 1 online. You've got a red buff on Claire in mid lane as a ranged champion into a melee champion. You've got top lane advantage right now as well that you can see. It's a big wave that's crashing in, so it's going to equalize a little bit. But, like, everywhere, Chiefs are in a pretty comfortable position unless something shifts back the other way. Praelis is here just to push this wave in and clear, by the way, to make life a little bit easier for Suman. Even K-pop here just to ensure a wave is pushed in. That's how afraid they are of the Kayn. What they don't know is that he full cleared and got a reset on. And now he's going to be a monster.
Sure will be. And I think that's kind of to be expected there from Gravitas' response as to whether or not Croc would decide to show face mid again, abuse the fact that the kill pressure wasn't going to be as real, especially once 6 is there as well. You still won't have that Ignite. I think that's definitely when Gravitas look at their strongest. When Suman's on an assassin, when Praelis has some form of initiation, very vocal voice on the roster. If he can lead that with the actions, that's when we have seen them be as adept as possible.
Nice little lane ward chucked down there by Tien as well. He's starting to win these trades and whittle down the health of his opposing member here of Nobody. Every time his W is available, he starts to look for these trades. Kill threat here.
Yeah, as you see, he gets a little bit of life leech and tops himself up quite handily in that trade attempt. The grass procs from the Ornn won't be enough, and he'll be forced to back away, and kind of a very rough lane state, depending on how Tien decides to hold this one. Actually going to cancel that recall.
Rough's an understatement. Nobody has recognized just how bad it is. Remember,
The
on
wave is pushed
10.13,
against from him. Doesn't have a TP, it's boomed.
on 10.13, Ornn received some nerfs to make sure that if you buy items in laning phase, they aren't immediately as impactful, right? So you get a Ruby Crystal on, and you have 20% health, you only get 20% of the benefits of that Ruby Crystal. I think that's how that works, or something similar to that. Anyway, it does mean that nobody's not going to be able to buy himself some health and stay in the lane as a result. He has to recall, has no teleport, has no flash. Tien, top lane's GG. Mid lane, we already saw the advantages that Claire's been picking up for himself. That is pretty much GG as well, except for like I want to say a level 6 kill threat that is there. You know, it's an Ignite Akali. If he gets level 6, he could look. This game is so reliant on Praylist trying to have impact, but that's almost impossible now. Because jungle's also really struggling. Like this is some angry gaming from the Chiefs. Gravitas took a level 1 trade that went bad. This is the result.
Certainly was, and obviously a new identity as well. Some new picks coming out on a new patch. We always knew it was going to be an uphill battle here for Gravitas. They haven't looked in the hottest form, and with a roster change like this, start to wonder, you know, what have they been practicing, what things have changed. Chiefs, despite their 0-2 last week, they are still the Chiefs. They still are a star-studded roster with a ton of support staff behind them. The brains behind the team that can constantly think of new ideas as to how to bring it to the opponent. We now turn to the bottom side of the map. And that is going to be a hook that spells disaster for Puma, who, bear in mind, is not 6, so won't have that Featherstorm to get on out. Has the Ignite in his head and forces K-Pop to disengage away. Grants him his shield as Prayless rocks on up, but Claire's going to TP in. Shockwave onto one. Hook goes AWOL. Won't connect. They're going to flash on forward. Hits him with the passive, and locked in place. He'll fall on down. Now Claire is 2-0-1. And if you have anybody on this team that needs the resources, this guy can use them.
Yeah, the Nautilus was looking for a hook on a second champion, so maybe a little bit more greedy there, you would say, from Dragcrew. If that was successful, though, they get 2. They're hunting again. K-Pop has the dashes, though, and can basically global dash towards Puma, so they will be fine. They will survive. Prox will get a couple of extra orbs on his pockets, assuming. Decides to play with fire. I feel like he's lucky.
It certainly is.
Oh,
they're hanging around a fair bit of
timing.
time. They're bleeding more and more resources as a result of this one. Just take a quick stock check of that scoreboard. Chiefs are quite content to hang around here for as long as need be.
Now, I would say, Skibby, that I'm a realist. But if this dive works, I think it's over.
Puma seems to be the key target, incredibly low. Flashes out. Still will fall on down as, well, Katsuri actually gets executed, so that is the worst possible scenario there from Gravitas. Prayless will eventually turn up to the fight, will flash on forward and guarantee themselves some form of silver lining, and potentially get themselves a double kill as Krot gets caught out of place. He will flash away, and it can abuse the terrain to disengage over that wall, and that'll be all she wrote there.
All right, well, he's able to survive. He gets a couple of extra little orbs there for his evolve as well in the end. Now, was that successful? It's a solid kind of. It does put Puma in a position where it's not ideal down in that bottom lane. Prayless does get himself a kill, so he's able to snag something going in their pockets. But that's really all they got, Gravitas. They're just being reactive. They're just responding. I think we're getting closer and closer to that break point where this game is just like 100% over. And I don't like saying that this early in, you know? I feel really bad as a commentator of a game that has to speak until the game ends to say something like, I think this is over. But those concerns are still going to be present until the moment Gravitas can prove me otherwise.
We've got those resources, we know what they can do with them, especially when they can find fights. They're finding skirmishes this early on. Successful as that. They can just win in the laning phase as it stands right there. So we're going to look to try and play around with the smoke screen for as long as humanely possible. But eventually, it will evaporate and he will expire. He'll fall on down. Claire sitting on a ton of gold. Rightly so, goes and buys the Dark Seal. And he is an absolute monster.
I feel as though, just watching that series of moments there from Human, I feel as though he has this pressure that he's placing on himself.
Yeah.
Where he's like, this game is so bad that I need to make a play. And that's what happens when you've got a disciplined player like Claire who understands how that lane is working and the fact that if I hit my ultimate, you know, it's good for me. Human was basically baiting it with his ultimate, right? Like he was saying, I can kill you, I have kill threat, I got a blue buff, I've got my ult ready, I've got ignite up, but just lost the little balancing act that was happening there. And once again, more kills going over to the hands of Chiefs. I have to assume is the pressure that is on Human.
I start to wonder because this is twice now that his comfort pick has been let through. Team saying, we're not that afraid of you and we're not scared of your team as a whole. We believe that, you know, you can have whatever you want. And perhaps, as you say, quite rightly, he is feeling that pressure that if I'm going to have this kind of champion available for me, if we've got a composition that's built around swarming them with pressure, well, I need to actually have some damage to make sure when we do connect, when we do look for that 4-5v5, I can make something happen. We can once again see Gravitas continue to find opportunities, or at least search for them. They'll force that Katsuri's flash.
Yep, they'll get the flash there to carry. I mean, that was like a lighthouse telling you that I want a rival, you know? Oh, Draku, nice hook.
Draku, fantastic there. The full combo, cycling through his cooldowns. May look just now for a double kill. The Ignite, for sure, will secure it. Thumbs up, tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, easy kills for them there again. Is that a pool party Orianna? It's like, that looks like a farmer's hat. Wasn't really sure. Anyway, might be in trouble here.
Potentially. He's going to respect the volley bear. Flashes away from the ultimate. That would have covered a fair bit of distance as Croc continues to play the PvE game. Goes from Dragon to Herald to just continuing to farm away.
And Croc sees some Raptors, sees an opportunity to put some damage on a playlist, may even int for this. And I say this as an objective good thing.
Well, he brings it back to where it all began. The shockwave is clean, but it won't prevent his life from falling on down. 1v3 runs on in. And Gravitas will say, thank you very much.
If that gave Croc an evolve, that was a good int. That was probably the best int that you could do in League of Legends as a Kayn. If that wasn't an evolve, not a good int, because it was a 500 gold shutdown. So now we just have to wait and see.
Find out if that evolution has happened when we get the camera next on him. What's up, as you say, a fair bit of gold, as you can see there from the kill count as well as the camp clear. Kratos continues to be very omnipresent on the map, looking to try and hemorrhage any kind of advantage anywhere he can find it on the map, because it seems very much the case of being lane difference across the board.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about this from pretty early into the game, right? This lane has become very difficult just from that level 1 play that happened. This continues, right? This is one of those lanes where if Sylas finds a lead, he tends to stay in that position of power. You've just seen the Herald summon in bot lane here as well. You can see the Kayn has transformed, so that was a good int. Let's give ourselves some confirmation, some fairy claps for Croc. It's not very often that someone will say good int, but that was a good int.
A tactical int with no malicious intent behind it. The Herald will be used to good effect, and that will obviously break them with the very first turret.
Yeah, he is Red Kayn though, so it's only fairy claps. It's not a full-blown applause. Draku's been hitting his hooks. We'll see if he goes to throw another one.
Ooh, they were definitely searching. The wombo combo was looking possible there. But they'll flash out of that shockwave.
Boys to continue snowballing. Here are the Chiefs. Maybe waiting for some cooldowns again. The Orianna shockwave not being available makes it hard.
Caught in the rotation. K-pop will get punished. You can see there from the score sheet how far accelerated all these laners are, up by significant margin. The smallest being, well, around about 600 gold. And that's putting up lightly. So significant leads can be found, and Chiefs know it. And they are taking pretty much anything at this stage. The ability to take structures grants them vision, gives them rotations, and will give them buffs.
Yeah, they've snowballed something severe here, to be honest with you. This position at the map and this timing, as Human needs to be very respectful here. They were forcing the recall out of Katsuri, protecting him was Claire. Katsuri had finished his Umbral Glaive, so their ability to control vision around the map just went through the roof. That time's very nasty with them getting those constant picks that happen, continuing to snowball their lead further and further into the game. So doing nicely overall once again are the Chiefs, knowing when to pick the battles that they're picking, turning that into advantages with no response available from Gravitas.
We just caught the tail end there as Tien stole away the Ornn ultimate and used it to what I can only imagine to be a potential 1v1. but more likely ended up just clearing the wave if anything. Chiefs are quite stubborn in their attempts here not to leave this lane. They've grouped up for the most part. Bot lane has been forgotten about. Now it's going to be a wombo combo attempt on towards them. Featherstorm will prevent any kind of turnaround event as then they go full disengage modes. Nobody looks to catch out another. And they connect with a double kill.
You got to keep your eyes on Katsuri though. If he's able to find some piercing arrows, they can still look for the fights. The ultimate just goes wide, but they're still looking.
They certainly are. Croc's going to dive in deep. Now going to jump onto one, make it a double kill. Can they find it? Puma incredibly low. He has nothing left. He's burnt all the summoners. It's going to be a double kill now for Croc, who's still hunting for more. That's going to be a triple. Can he get himself the quadra kill? Can he debut the Kane? He looks to go one way, duped out by the smoke screen, flashing away. The orb will not connect, but the arrow will land, and that's the ace.
Yeah, that was big play there once again from the Chiefs. They knew it was a 3v5, and it's a situation where most teams would say, we cannot fight this, but they know their limits. Once again, they'll look for the fight, and with absolute confidence that they'll be able to win that one, they're proven to be absolutely correct. And you got that feeling coming into it, you know, Katsuri has been hitting all of his Qs. They've been slowly chunking them down. You've got the really early red Kane evolution as well. So team fighting is his specialty. As long as he's dealing damage to champions, Conqueror comes on. He's going to be an absolute unit to contend with. However, we do have to acknowledge that the Chiefs were the ones who got caught at the start here by Gravitas. Teleports come in, they look for 10, they're able to take down 2 early kills. And I just... You know, you look at this and you would say in a vacuum it's a 5v3, we're okay. But I still think they should have just disengaged and not considered the Drake at this point. This is with a Varus ultimate going wide, by the way, that they're able to do this. Prayless and K-pop trying to protect Puma. But there's no way to stop Croc from putting the damage down. And in fact, grouping up just means that he's going to heal more and more. So he gets himself the triple. Just waiting for rotations of Varus spells between all of this, and it's just easy pickings for the Chiefs.
Yeah, the cost was quite high there as Gravitas' duo had to burn every summoner just to make sure those 2 initial kills worked in their favor. Quite easy to say in hindsight, they should have just disengaged and been quite content with that, given how far the gold lead is away from them. But that gold lead is obviously what, in the end, was the difference maker, allowing Chiefs to come out on top of things. They're going to get themselves the second dragon of the game. It is going to be the Ocean Dragon. Take it away. Infernal Soul is what we are playing for. More damage, because why not?
One thing that is nice for nobody, of course it doesn't currently look nice, is that both solo laners are magic damage. So he is able to build that Abyssal Mask that you've seen once he ticks 13 evolving. He'll be pretty hard to deal with. He still should be able to clear waves. And only take small amounts of damage as they are hunting for Claire, it seems.
They certainly are. Both jungle and support land their CC, prevent Gravitas going for the catch through top try. Protecting their mid laner. But they are bleeding everywhere here, Rusty. Tien's pushing bot. They're going to find what is potentially a kill. And as K-pop is forced to disengage away rapidly. That's Katsuri wanted to unleash the full combo. But Featherstorm will prevent that connection. They bleed topside, they push bot.
He's holding on to it, so I think that actually forces them very far away. Human.
Arcane commented.
Boom.
That's been the story of the game here for Gravitas, really, hasn't it? From the very get-go here, they've been unable to really find what they wanted to really achieve with this match, as to make sure we have a tanky threat to jump in and have the Akali follow things up with some swift kills.
Yeah, they're not even going to go for the inhibitor in mid lane. They're not going to overexert themselves. They're not going to force anything. And in a funny way, they're not going to give any extra farm to the hands of Gravitas needlessly, you know? They push towards bottom lane. They'll get an inner turret down there, or at least pressure rather that inner turret down there as well. They'll break some blue buffs. They'll get a reset off. And they'll continue to hunt around the map and push their advantages further and further. Would that inhibitor in good be good? Did I just say that inhibitor in good?
Look, I'm liking it. It's a long night.
It's been a long day. We're just getting started. The inhibitor in mid would be good, is what Rusty was trying to say.
We all
but
knew
you don't need to give super minions to a team this far behind if you have to if they still have to come out of the map.
quite rightly you should say. It would have been a 18-minute inhibitor. Very real potential for them to stall out the game farm from afar, but quite honestly, given the trajectory of this game, if you're up by basically 10,000 gold at 20 minutes in, it's very tough for them to find those moments or seize the opportunities that may be afforded to them. You're looking at 2,000 gold leads for the most part between every single matchup.
Pretty much everywhere ahead. Like mentioned a couple times now, it's been a pretty comprehensive game overall for Chiefs. This is that angry gaming. Shockwave may happen. It just misses.
Gravitas cheeky again. But that's not going to prevent them from looking for fights elsewhere. They go mid lane. Claire just going to basically jump into mid lane, say what's up. Doesn't have the Shockwave, does have the flash, but that I think really showcases how confident they are right now. They aren't scared of Gravitas whatsoever. They're going to finish off what they started. They will take that mid inhibitor down. 20 minutes into this game.
Yeah, once again, taking all the necessary steps. It was a blast cone that got Claire in mid lane there as well. Tripped me up for a hot second, but we are on an Infernal Rift, so that does make a lot more sense. And speaking of, they're going to be able to disengage and go straight to that Infernal Drake. You would expect that they will be able to continue to pressure the bot lane in the turret if they group themselves up around that. However, as we've crested over the 20-minute mark here, Skimmy Baron is a pretty realistic possibility for the Chiefs to consider. A lot of the emphasis from Gravitas may even start to move towards that area.
And we don't see it too often when the Baron spawns at 20 minutes that we could say, look, this is a very real possibility. But if you have these many item advantages, this many levels up on your opposition, they could look to try and close this one out. It's been a very fast game so far. Will be a game that will give themselves a sole point condition to play for at that 25-minute mark.
Oh dear, we're at that stage of the game.
Bush parties.
Yeah, a couple of bush doofs. We're going to see them. We're going to see them immediately blue trinketed as well, Skimmy. So any chance they had, police came along, sirens are out, and had to disengage the area immediately.
They said none of that. We're not playing that. We are the ones controlling this game. You aren't able to have any kind of comeback conditions here. As K-pop was the focus. He's going to get forced away once again. Just the sheer presence of Croc is so damn frustrating right now. Tien going to get jumped upon on a 1v2. He's going to get so much CC delivered his way. Going to turn golden. So now just Puma rocks on up and says, give me an assist, give me some gold.
Nice Parasol.
But the price is high. As the Chiefs will say, you can take that kill, but we'll take that kill and more as they're going to now break through the top lane turrets. CC sequencing of the Chiefs duo. Pretty clean there.
Yeah, absolute annihilation of the health bar of K-pop as he finds himself 0-4 and kind of matching Tien. Unnecessarily in the position that he was in, so yes, they do give something back over as a Shockwave comes out just to really assert dominance. Claire, the apex predator of the mid lane right now, just really letting it hit home. They'll continue to pressure though. It does force Human back to base, so they'll be able to look towards the top lane inhibitor turret.
He's doing pretty absurd damage. There's so much protection with the rest of his team. As well as the Seraph's Embrace with the shield. Now K-pop looking for a Hail Mary attempt. Gonna look to try and charm the entire team. But it will be Drag who that walks on forward, pops the stone play, and it's incredibly tanky. Now can he find a pick target? Both him and Croc are sniffing for trouble. There is no shockwave, bear in mind, that was used moments prior, but it's not going to prevent them from falling on down regardless. Tien steals the volley bear, and he jumps into the backline, locks them all in place. Suman tries to find an assassination attempt on the backline, but just does no damage, and he will be deleted. Katsuri gets double kill. 80 carries are on the score sheet as Puma finds one himself. But that'll be his second inhibitor that will fall on down. Not going to end it just here yet, Rusty.
Yeah, still 2 inhibitors down, 10,000 gold lead in advantage of the Chiefs. 23 minutes into this game. They're having an absolute blinder. All of the hopes and dreams of Gravitas steadily fade away. It's a hard game to play. You know, there are times in scrims where that level 1 goes how it does, and you think to yourself, wouldn't mind remaking this one. But they're stuck because they're in the OPL. We'll see this fight again. No Orianna Shockwave available in this one, so just going to disengage. Croc comes in and does a bulk of the distracting, if nothing else, and then Katsuri finds his target with the Varus ultimate there as well. So they're just able to keep pushing forward and threat. Assuming then going to actually flash in, and then realize that all hope is lost where he has flashed in, and luckily enough just able to walk it out casually. This is Tien. had his eyes set on Puma.
You see the idea of what this Gravitas comp was designed to do? Swarm them with pressure, but this far behind, they just don't have the damage to actually make those kills happen. You can see Suman jumps in there, already at 30%.
Yeah, I mean, that's desperation, you know? Like,
Pure desperation.
now, there should just be a free 30 inhibitor turret will drop here shortly after this inner turret falls as well. You'd expect that the opportunities that Gravitas have are completely gone. If they take a fight here, they may even lose Nexus turret. So we'll see how this one plays.
1v1 takes place between the two junglers outside the base. As he's now inside the base, 1v3. Comes to Randowitz and slows them all on down. So well protected. The K-pop charm will prevent a fair few members as the depth charge gets used. They flash on forward and they say, where are you running? That fountain is not yours to play around with. Tien looks like a statue and claims gold here today as they get themselves another double kill. Only 2 tanks remain here for Gravitas, the Volibear and the Ornn. No damage left in the tank for them. As mid inhibitor will respawn, but as soon as it's up, it falls on down once again. It wasn't the game here for Gravitas. It wasn't their day. The Chiefs have come out swinging, they've come out angry, and they've come out creative as they will look for a delayed ace. One final member survives, but the carry's popped off here today. 6-1 on the Kane, 6-1 on the Orianna, and 7-1 on Katsuri. Back to basics is it for the Chiefs, and back to winning ways as they take down Gravitas in game number 2.
A couple of extra kills towards the end there, cheeky ones, as the Nexus goes down, and Chiefs just, without a doubt, in control from the first minute of this game. From the first camp that was started by Croc when the reinforcements arrived, everything was going their way. And they never looked like slowing down, you know, the smallest of mistakes here and there allowed Gravitas to find their individual picks, their single moments, but that was the Chiefs that we've come to know in the OPL. And that was, in particular, I do actually want to say Dragku, with a fantastic performance on that Nautilus, hitting all of his hooks that he was throwing, particularly when they mattered.
I have to agree. I mean, it played to their strengths. We've talked about how strong that bot lane has been when Korea CK was there. Always the lane dominance factor that comes into the equation. It felt like a little bit of that was missing, but Draku coming into his own and a fantastic performance to put them back into winning ways. So Chiefs are going to be happy with that one. Gravitas, unfortunately, unable to find the love going into a tough matchup with a new roster here today. We're going to jump to a quick break, and when we return, it's game number 3 of the night. It will be Pentnet.gg taking on Mammoth.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play onto multiple members. He gets himself a double kill.
It's Raze doing what he does, the team fight king.
We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact free, we'll be here.